Hello, this is just a short video to show my progression in my feedback sampling project. So far I've recorded my feedback. I did this in the college using different amps, different guitars. Then I used Reaper to splice up the recording and take some samples from it. So yeah, I have a sample folder here. I'm in Ableton, so the first 11 samples here are just the raw samples I took from that recording session. Since then as well, I've also got a chance to use a Mirage sampler keyboard. So I've got some of those samples that I sampled back from the keyboard into Ableton. So I've got those here as well. But yeah, this session mostly, or this video, I'm going to just kind of show what I've created so far. So I decided to create some step sequencers in Ableton because I thought that would be like an intuitive way of working with the samples. So I used an arpeggiator. Actually, first I put a MIDI clip in, just 4 bars, and a C note that's constant. So when I press that, it kind of plays the C note. Then the arpeggiator is kind of controls the rate. That goes into a random, what's it called again? Random pitch, I think. That's set 100%, and 8 choices as the 8 notes in an octave. I've set that to add, so it adds 1 every time. So it builds, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gone into an instrument rack. And yeah, so I created 8 separate instruments basically in this. Each of those has their own scale and note length. The scale I've used to keep it constantly at C. So each of these notes, it's all C. Yeah, and then these notes I divided up each of them into each of the keys, so they play in sequence. Yeah, so then the transpose of the scale is where the magic happens. So I've mapped that to the macros, and I've mapped each of these 8 macros here to the 8 knobs that are on my Akai LVD8. So if I turn one of those knobs, it changes the pitch of the sample on that particular sequence step. I've also mapped the 8 pads on my LPD8 to the 8 steps, so I can actually mute each of these here. So I'll just show you for a sec. So that's me muting the first one and unmuting. So yeah, then I put that into a scale. I'm working with the Dorian mode. I think another one of them is, yeah, so that's Dorian mode. That one's C major. Yeah, and then the main kind of part of this, I've got one of my feedback samples in here, and it's just using Simpler. I'm not really doing too much to it in Simpler. I've got the loop off, I've got warp off. I've just like brought up the attack a little bit to take away the initial kind of hit. And yeah, so I've also got a tuner in here as well. I've tuned each of these samples slightly because they were slightly out. Yeah, so I've got 4 step sequencers. They're all playing different notes, and they're all playing different feedback samples as well. Here's a different one, and here's this one, and this one. Oh, that's similar. But yeah, so I'll just play this and kind of give you an idea of what it sounds like. So that's 4 stepper and sequencers playing together. As you can see down here, it's cycling through each of the steps. Same here. Same with these. This one here, I've set the rate 1:1, so these cycle slower. Now I've also set up this instrument rack here. I've set this up to receive MIDI notes from my Alesis keyboard that I've got. So this is really getting down to the initial idea that I've taken from Kevin Shields, where he used a MIDI keyboard to play samples of feedback from an Akai sampler. So I'm using Ableton Simpler instead, and I'm using my Alesis keyboard. So what I'm going to do here now is just record in some sounds using this feedback sample number 9 that I've got. It's kind of a longer one. It's like 4 or 5 seconds long, so I can create kind of a nice pad type sound. There's no real processing done to this feedback sample either. It's quite raw, so we'll see how it sounds in here. Alright.